This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. This is the Fast Break Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. Joining me, as always, is Ricky Widmer.
Does it feel good to be back, Sean?
And Dave Oster.
Hey, everybody.
And I am back. And,
roll through the questions.
Yeah, because I got to get through I'm not answering questions. You're just supposed to say your stupid line, which you did say. And then Dave's supposed to say, hey, everybody. That's what to do. I'm back. Went to Lollapalooza, shaved my head irrationally when I got home on Saturday night from Lollapalooza. It looked terrible, and it looks bad now, and I know it. So you can tell me in the comments. But anyways, we're here to talk shooting guards. Thank you for taking the break last week to talk some Kyrie and some other stuff.
Talking about Giannis. And then
Giannis, Kyrie, and 2K.
Dave wanted to complain about those rookie ratings.
I was upset I wasn't on that Giannis, the Giannis talk.
I wanted you here for it, but...
Is he going to win the MVP? Just real quick.
No, but I think he has a good shot.
Okay.
I think it depends. I think it depends on some things. Anyways, that's not what people are here for. They are here for the NBA shooting guards. If you're listening on Block Talk Radio, thank you so much. You'll have the full rankings 30 through 1 in the whole podcast. And if you're watching on YouTube, we're coming out in 3 segments, and that's coming out the full segment. When does it come out?
Either Saturday or Sunday.
Saturday they get going. Whenever it gets going. No, but the full podcast on YouTube.
The full one should be out. It's usually the last as they're listening to it.
Oh.
Day one.
I didn't know
we
that.
got sneak preview.
They
got 2 and 3 before.
Look at that. Anyways, you guys can get
it
all on YouTube.
Are you talking about on YouTube or Blog Talk?
YouTube.
Oh, YouTube, it comes out at the end. I thought you were talking about Blog Talk.
The end. So you'll probably watch
the day after the last
21
segment.
to 30.
Thank you.
The day after the last segment. So it'll take a while if you're watching this fully on YouTube. Anyways, let's jump into these rankings, boys. We did this last 2 weeks ago with point guards. We're jumping in with shooting guards last year. Last year we had a fight over number 1. Klay Thompson was number 1. And
you're wrong. You were wrong.
We have someone else at the top of the throne now.
It's not that we were wrong.
You were wrong.
It's just that you added Kevin Durant to that team, and Klay's role was diminished.
We're not talking about that.
I know. I'm just saying.
We'll get through 10 through 1. That's what people want. We have to start with the bottom feeders,
the
21 through 30. So let's get through this.
Last place, Austin Rivers.
At 30, we have the starting shooting guard for the Memphis Grizzlies. Dave and I actually had a discussion on this, whether Tyreke Evans would be here and then Chandler Parsons would be at the 3, but we said Chandler Parsons wasn't healthy enough. Therefore, Ben McLemore is the starting shooting guard for the Memphis Grizzlies, and he is the last shooting guard. At 29, we got Austin Rivers of the Clippers. At 28, we have Wesley Matthews of the Dallas Mavericks. We have Ian Clark at 27 of the New Orleans Pelicans. At 26, we have Andre Roberson of the Thunder. At 24, we have now new Nick, new and old Nick at the same time, Tim Hardaway Jr. We also have at 24, J.R. Smith of the Cavs. At 23, we have Kent Bazemore of the Atlanta Hawks.
Thank you for that.
At 22, we have Danny Green of the San Antonio Spurs. And 21, I don't know why he is above. No, wait. Evan Fournier of the Magic is at 22. Danny Green's at 21 of the Spurs. You messed that up. We said Danny Green above it.
No,
in the tie, we said
Dave said Evan Fournier first.
and then you can't
change. He voted.
He said Evan Fournier, and then I talked him out of it.
He did a little bit.
I talked him out of it.
I was saying Evan because I have Evan Fournier.
Yeah, and then I talked him out of it. I talked him out of it. He switched.
You vote.
He
you
switched.
Can't take that back.
He did.
It was on paper. On paper.
I talked him out of it. Anyways, he's probably going to put Danny Green at 22, but they were tied, so 21 Danny Green. Anyways, let's jump into this. What we did last time was who kind of surprising here, who kind of fits in here. I mean, out of all this, the guy that I want to talk about first off is the guy making a ton of money out of all these guys is Tim Hardaway Jr., the guy who just got paid from New York. Welcome back. A nice welcome back to Tim Hardaway Jr. Starting over Courtney Lee in this situation because they just paid him money. So looking at Tim Hardaway Jr., what do you expect out of him in this role as starting shooting guard for the Knicks with this tumultuous, I think I messed that word up, but this messed up Knicks situation, and then just the contract that he got for his skill set. I mean, what do you expect from Tim Hardaway Jr. here?
Points. That's all I expect.
But like what exactly? I mean, he's gonna be. He's gonna be the second.
Is he just a chucker?
He's gonna be the third scoring option behind Melo and Kristaps.
If I am a Knicks fan, I mean, looking at the point totals that he's had in each of his seasons, and I know that it was different in New York than it was in Atlanta, but he had 14.5 last year. If you're not putting up at least 15, that's me being generous. If you're not putting up at least 15 per game, I'm angry as a Knicks fan, just based off of how much they're paying.
So basically you expect him to progress his career, like most people his age would do.
Yeah, I mean, right now he's sitting around 25 years old, and probably his first start. I mean, really his first true start.
Yeah, actually only started about 30 games last year.
Yeah, 30 games last year, and then before that in 2014, 2015 with the Knicks, started about 30 games.
But that Knicks team was dumpster.
And he's also improved. I mean, back then when he was with the Knicks, starting 30 games, 38% from the field, 34 from three, only averaging around 11 per game. You see this in Atlanta, obviously a better team than that Knicks team, but still shooting around 45% from the field, 35 from three, averaging around 14. So I mean, he has improved. So I mean, are you expecting a guy that's going to be a good third option for the Knicks, or is he just another body really for the Knicks?
I mean, honestly, I'm even in the conversation. Like, I know they gave him the money, but I'm not saying he overwhelmingly beats out Courtney Lee. I think he was
a big free agent signing the year before.
Was solid. And I think he played pretty well, actually. In all honesty, like, he was probably like a valuable piece. If they really were trying to move people around, they could move him. But he's on a decent deal.
Well, and I think also the reason why we have Tim Hardaway signing or starting over him is because of the money.
It's the money, yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like, even though he has the starting role in our minds right now, I think that he and Courtney Lee are going to share a lot of that time. But Ricky's right. Like, unless he progresses this year, I'm gonna be like just another Phil Jackson Knicks signing in my mind, because it's a little silly. You trade him away, and then you're like, oh, wait, you have some talent? All right, come on back home. We love you.
I mean, with Tim Hardaway, I mean, it's going to be Tim Hardaway Jr.
Of course.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens with, not only the Melo situation, is Melo going to get traded, because apparently they've reopened those talks.
Of course.
And what his role would be if he has to, if Melo moves out and Tim Hardaway has to take on a bigger role. I mean, I don't see Tim Hardaway ever being...
Do you think he could, though? Like, I guess...
I don't see him ever being a 20-point per game scorer. I mean, I honestly look at him.
I could see him capping out at 18.
He's a good player.
That's like a good season.
Yeah, he's a good player. He's a decent starter for the Knicks. I mean, I don't think he's going to be... There's a reason he's 24.
If he puts up, like Ricky said, like 15, 16, 3 and 3, about the same numbers, a little bit better than last year. I mean,
he's
honestly,
athletic.
what do you
He's
expect
got a shot.
I think that's bottom of like we said. I mean, this is the 25 or the 30 to 20 discussion, really. So,
but the thing is he's sitting right now at 25, and I don't see him moving too much. And if he does, maybe he moves up to like where Evan Fournier is, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is at that 19-20. But looking at guys below him, I think there's two guys that I want to talk about that can move up, and I think it's Ian Clark, who right now moved over to the Pelicans from being with Golden State. He's probably the fourth option on that Pelican team with, obviously Anthony Davis, DeMarcus Cousins, Drew Holiday. Ian Clark proved in, limited minutes, and this was on the Warriors, that he can be a really effective scorer and just an all-around good ball mover. I mean, Ian Clark, right now we have him at 27. I still looking at him being at fourth option starting. There's not going to be a lot of pressure on him to do well, but in the role that he's going to be, which is going to be a perimeter shooter, he's already thrived in a role where he was just already playing on the outside. So I see him taking a step up, and then also Wesley Matthews. Wes has been a little bit injured, but we've seen Wes before be a really great 3-and-D player for the Portland Trailblazers.
Ian Clark's the one that I'm most intrigued coming into this season, and I didn't know really where to rank him, because I had him 28, and I know that some people are going to say, Ricky, that's very low for what he brings, and I know that he was on a stacked Warriors team, but now the big thing I want to see with Ian Clark is if he will be the main starter, I want to see what you can do with that time. How much are you going to improve those stats? What are you going to bring to this Pelicans team? Because this is a Pelicans team that, I know it was like ESPN and stuff, but they're even asking the question of, can the Pelicans make a run at the playoffs this year? Could they be like the 8th team?
Well, I think we talked about that last year, too, especially once they brought in DeMarcus Cousins. And you look at that team, DeMarcus Cousins, Anthony Davis, Drew Holiday. That's a...
And then you tack on Rondo on top of that.
Yeah, and Rondo coming off the bench. That's a good, solid four there.
Yeah.
And you look at Ian Clark, throughout his career, around 36% from three, but he's getting better. He's improving with the years, and especially with the minutes. He's never played over 15 minutes per game in his career.
Yeah.
And in limited minutes, we see him on a great Warriors team, put up 37, but he's seen splashes of where he can put up like 20, 24 and be a really efficient three-point shooter, and it's something where you got to take into account that yes, he was on the best team that we've seen probably in years and probably since the 90s Bulls.
Yeah.
But then again, he's a guy that is only 26 years old and never had the chance to start.
Right.
And now he's starting with Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins.
No, I think the opportunity for him is huge, and he's also a player coming in with playoff experience, like true playoff experience. He got serious minutes, even like those first couple of games against Portland, where Golden State was able to kind of play around a little loosely with the roster. Like he looked legitimately good in those minutes, and to get somebody who has years of playoff experience come in and be your shooting guard, and like you said, someone who hasn't had the chance to be like the guy, and obviously he's not going to be the guy on this team. They're a loaded team, but again, he comes in with pretty low expectations, and he can step way above, for me. Like, I had him at like 23, I think. And I just think that there's a ton of potential still for him to grow. So I'm curious to see, like, kind of the Harrison Barnes thing we talked about before the show was, outside of the Golden State system, how is this guy going to do? Is he going to thrive like Harrison Barnes did last year? Obviously, becoming like a true number 1 or 2 on that team.
And obviously it was different too because Harrison Barnes was a first round pick and a starter on that Warriors team that won a title.
But Ian Clark has been a really solid bench player, and I think that this is going to be the big test to see, if he's going to come out and become that starter or if he really just is a bench player throughout. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's a little disappointing.
I don't think we have him criminally rated too high. We have him at 27, and you could look at players like Austin Rivers. Austin Rivers has been really consistent throughout his career, but Austin Rivers doesn't bring a ton to that team.
I think there's a little bit of resentment around him as well.
Yeah, and doesn't bring a ton to that starting lineup. I mean, you guys kind of ranked him 30 just because he's daddy's boy.
Well,
in Austin Rivers.
Let's be honest.
He's a consistent player and a good shooter.
I mentioned this. It's not that we're not having a Kyle Singler discussion here, but at the same time, like part of me only feels like Austin Rivers is in the situation he's in and being the starter just because Daddy traded for him and he's on Daddy's team.
You also look at Austin Rivers, though, and you could say that, but that Daddy's boy is also putting up 40% from 3. He's also being an efficient shooter. He's also, yes, that was with Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan. Chris Paul's now left, but you still have decent point guards in Pat Bev and Milos.
Yep.
So, I mean, he's going to still have guys who are able to move the ball, and it's something where if he's shooting around 40% and able to put up 13 points per game, that's a very good starter, especially for a guy who's, the fourth option on that team.
The question is if he can maintain that with the minutes increase, and I think that there's a fair chance because he's already playing 27 minutes a night. Like he's going to probably go up to like 33, 34.
The fact that you guys had him at 30 was ridiculous. Ben McLemore sucks.
I know he does.
Come on, Ben McLemore had a good season last year,
I only had him at 29.
Yeah, but you had him above Austin Rivers.
Yes,
which is a disgrace. I mean, Austin Rivers over the past 2 years has shot 40% from 3, and at least he's a better shooter than Ben McLemore.
I think the fans are going to get a bigger disgrace later in the show.
He shot 33% 2 years ago.
No, the past 2 years combined.
No, 33 and 37.
Austin Rivers?
Yeah.
33.5 last year,
maybe I did
or the year before,
wrong.
And then 37.1.
Hold on.
Yeah, so I
went to Basketball Reference.
It's close, but he's not that.
My bad. I know what I fucked
up.
He's
not that good.
So he shot 44% from the field, and that's the stat I was remembering. I apologize. 35% from 3. Anyways, Bam McLemore did have a higher 3-point shooting percentage than him last year, but still, Austin Rivers
is an all-around decent player. I don't know if he should be a true starter in this league. I think that he's given the benefit of the doubt. I agree with you there, and that's the thing is like some of these bottom guys are kind of fringy, and that's fair. I mean, it may not be the team's best option, but it's who they're going to throw out there on day one. So we have to go with it. I think Austin Rivers definitely has potential to grow. Like you said, with the removal of Chris Paul, there's definitely going to be a lot of opportunities for him. My concern is that he is just a role player, and he is a better sixth man than a starter.
Yeah,
and that's personally I can see him and Sweet Lou running there really well. I can see Pat Bev and Lou also. We've seen that before. I think it'll work well.
Well, and the thing is that Lou Williams is a better player than Austin Rivers. No one's doubting that. But you look at what Lou Williams is able to do for the Lakers and the Rockets last year, coming off the bench. There's a reason he's coming off the bench because he does so much with that second unit. And it's something that's so valuable when you're looking at Austin Rivers and
that's what I think Austin Rivers would thrive at. Running 1-2 with Lou Williams. I think that's where his money's at, but because of the situation, they're going to put him as a starting 2.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Austin Rivers, but I think he's better than Ben McLemore for sure. And the fact that you guys had him right to the bottom
potentially.
But again, we talked about Ian Clark, we talked about Tim Hardaway Jr., we talked about Austin Rivers, Ben McLemore. The other guy that I want to mention was Wesley Matthews, because this was a guy that in Portland was a fantastic player, a great 3-point shooter, a good defender, and obviously he's been dealing with injuries since signing that contract with the Mavericks. And you guys know I'm pretty high on the Mavericks. I mean, I think they're a good team. I mean, you obviously have Dirk, who latter in the season was looking like old Dirk. Nerlens is a fantastic player, and with him and Dirk side by side, with Dennis Smith running that, and Harrison Barnes, Wesley being the fifth option, I think Wesley's going to be a fantastic fifth option when healthy, like he's proven before, and I think that he's really going to do well in that system. And I had Wesley Matthews at 29, but that was because he's coming off that injury, and there's a lot of questions.
Can he stay healthy? That's the big question.
And if he plays healthy and he's able to stay healthy, I think Wesley Matthews is a guy that might be able to jump up here because we're looking at Kent Bazemore here, we're looking at J.R. Smith, we're looking at Tim Hardaway.
Yeah.
J.R. we know what we're getting out of J.R. But you look at Kent Bazemore and Tim Hardaway, it's more of the promise since they are so young.
They could take over a team more where J.R. is a guaranteed role player. We know what we get out of him, but you gotta like it.
And same with Wesley Matthews when Wesley Matthews and J.R. are healthy.
Right.
So, I mean, something where, those guys might be a six-man, might be great six-man, but even in the starting lineup, they're going to do damage. It's kind of like what Danny Green brings, where Danny Green's 21, not 22 on that list. I don't care what the graphic you made, Ricky, says. You're putting fake news out there.
He's
man.
everything you want of a 3-and-D player.
Danny Green won the vote there because he is everything that you want in a 3-and-D player. He's great at shooting three, weirdly enough, and he's a great defender, and he's really grown into that defender when coming into 30 years old, and you put him in that Spurs lineup, it's something where Danny Green, you see guys behind there, Wesley Matthews, J.R. Smith. Danny Green is who they hope to be. They hope to be at that 21-19 spot where, Danny Green's able to thrive there. I just look at, these guys, and, we're really talking about role players here, and these aren't really young rookies that we kind of see taking the next step, but out of all these players, who is the next guy that could take that step into 19 through 10 or 11 range?
You're gonna hate me for this, but I'm gonna say Evan Fournier. Like, I know we shit talk Magic so much, and I know you Magic fans love us for that, but like Magic fan, all one of them,
all one of them with all 11 starters.
I would say, and all those YouTube accounts, so much hate, but.
Dude, Vucevic for Draymond, straight up, bro.
Straight up,
bro.
Enough memes aside, like I legitimately think that Evan Fournier could take that next step because a lot of his stats we kind of, I don't say it's discounted, but it's with the understanding that the Magic really don't have a great option. So like he got a lot of garbage time and he scored, I think like 17 a game. It wasn't pretty. And let's be honest, like if they wanted to force the ball somewhere else, they could have. It just seemed like he was just the guy who was there. I mean, obviously, like I can't say that truthfully because Mario Hezonja was there and like he is just straight
Mario
booty.
Didn't play that much though.
No, but he's straight ass.
Yeah.
Like there's no doubt. So I mean, he's better than that, but I don't know if he's truly like a 20-point a game scorer. Like, can he take that step from going from like 17 a night to 23 a night and become a true number one and become like not an all-star, but like a budding star in the East?
Well, the thing with Fournier, and the reason why I have a tough time saying even if he gets to that 20-mark plateau, 20-point per game plateau, doesn't mean that much if he's not doing it efficiently.
Right.
Because like you look last year, I mean, we've seen Fournier be a very efficient shooter. He just had his worst year shooting. 35% for three. Yeah, I mean, he didn't in his rookie year he shot 40%, but he was only taking like 1.4 threes a game. Right. When he was finally getting numbers, it was still his worst year, but like you said, he was chucking up bad shots. So when he's taking those shots that are set up, by Elfrid Payton, who you think is going to take the next step, the help of Terrence Ross, the help of Jonathan Isaac, et cetera, with all these players that they brought in, all these starters that they brought in,
all starters,
and hopefully Frank Vogel can bring them together. But again, Fournier probably is that number one guy that you're saying and bringing up. But then again, it's does that 20-point plateau mean anything if he's not doing it efficiently? And it's something where I understand where you're seeing, Fournier might be able to make that jump because, hey, people might see 20 points per game and be like, oh, that's pretty good. You scored 20 points per game.
It puts you in a different category for sure.
If the Magic are the bottom of the tank of the East, doesn't matter if he's putting up 20 points per game and the only guy who's putting up numbers.
If your PER is under 15, you're still ass.
Yeah,
that's the thing. He has a PER of like not even 14, 13.9 last year.
He was not good, and his win shares was like 2.8. I mean, he was not a guy that was moving the needle at all for the Orlando Magic, and it's something where, like you said, the Magic were a bad team, and they were forcing shots on him. I don't see that really changing with the Magic too much because they added Isaac, they brought in other players, but I don't see those guys moving the needle so much where Fournier is going to be a number one on a decent team that's in playoff contention. I don't see that going on with the Magic. Ricky, is there anyone else that you can kind of see making that jump up?
I want to say Ian Clark, but I'm not going to. I'm going to say Tim Hardaway Jr. He's the one to me where I'm not saying he's going to, but based off of everything that Knicks team is doing, Melo or no Melo, I mean, without Melo, his role just increases, and he can up those points, get more chances with his hand on the ball, and he could be one that next year, if he has a solid season, we're talking about him being in that next bracket of 11 to 20.
Yeah,
I think Bazemore is the one guy that you have to look out for.
The guy we have not mentioned at this point.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, we talked about everybody else. Oh, we didn't talk about
forgotten,
and the guy who can't shoot free throws.
And Robertson.
The shooting guard who cannot shoot.
Yes, he's a fantastic defender.
Oh my God, yeah.
Can't do anything else.
There, yeah.
But then again, when you're playing now with Paul George and Russell Westbrook,
They can afford that a little bit better.
You're going to have two guys in Paul George and Roberson who can play great defense.
Yeah.
And then you got Paul George to take a little bit of that outside shot from him. Roberson's nothing. I mean, again, he's a good defender, but that's really nothing else. So we don't really talk about him that much. But with Kent Bazemore, he's a guy that now with the moves that the Hawks have made. Hardaway gone, Millsap gone, Horford now gone again for the second season. Howard gone as well.
Yep.
Bazemore's going to see an increase of usage and an increase of minutes. And Bazemore, people have talked. The Lakers were really high on him when he was a free agent. Hawks obviously were high on him, and they signed him to a contract. The skill set is there, but can he put it together?
Mm-hmm.
And now can he put it together in an increased role? And that's why I think if he's able to do that, I think that's why he's going to be able to take that jump, because it's something with Fournier. Fournier might take that jump because his stats are inflated. I think Bazemore might be getting those because he is one of the top options for the Hawks. And the Hawks with Schroeder and the players around them, I just feel like his might be a little more based on his skill.
His usage is going to go through the roof.
Yeah,
we can be honest. Like the Hawks are a dumpster, and
that's nicely,
that's what it is. It's what it is. So we expect his usage to go up. So it'll be a good test to see if he, can improve his efficiency, because that's where he dropped off. And his shot volume went down from 3, but his percentage went down. Like, honestly, that's the only concerning thing is like watching percentages go down while volume doesn't change that much. I'm like, really? Like, is it not getting enough looks, or is it not getting the right looks? I think that's kind of the thing with them.
Or is he just not that
not
good?
Not a good player.
Not that good. I mean, maybe he was just
There's
on a good
reason
Hawks team.
You bounced around so much, maybe.
Yeah. And maybe he was on a good Hawks team before that when they had everyone, and then he wasn't. He was the 6th option, 7th option coming off the bench.
True.
Behind Korver,
You
behind
get to shine
Teague,
against
behind
second
Schroeder.
units.
Yeah, he's playing against second units, and he's playing with guys like Horford, Millsap, Korver, all these players around him.
Yep.
That's going to help your team. So I think this is a make or break year for Bazemore, where we could see him go up, or he could be in that Ben McLemore era. So I think it's something where this is kind of make or break for Bazemore. I mean, really, if he doesn't increase his efficiency, what's left there for Kent Bazemore?
Well, they threw money on him. That's the problem. It's like they've agreed that that's the direction they're moving in. So I think that's. Yeah.
And if Ricky, who mentioned Tim Hardaway, if he thrives in New York, there you go. That's money that you let go away, especially with Millsap not signing. But then again, you just signed Bazemore before Hardaway. So, anyways, looking at this, 21 through 30, it's not too exciting with these shooting guards. We really don't get into the good part until about, I don't know, maybe 16 on the shooting guards. But is there anything else you want to mention before we jump into 20 through 11?
No, not really. Just that Austin Rivers 30th.
Austin,
30.
Austin Rivers is 29 out of 30.
Yeah.
You two
no,
put
I'm
him
just
at
saying 30 out of 30.
He personally feels 30.
You also put 30
out
out of 30 because you, for some reason, have a weird hate for Doc Rivers.
I do.
And Austin Rivers.
He's overrated.
He's not. You guys are really.
No, I'm
just
saying Doc is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you meant Austin Rivers. I'm like, how can he be underrated?
Austin's good.
At 30?
It's just I think he's a bench player. I don't, and that's the truth of it. Like the rest of these guys, you can see role players, but starters. Austin Rivers, I feel like he would really thrive coming off the bench better.
I see.
Ben, I don't even want to talk about.
I see Ben McLemore and Austin Rivers as bench players, but even Austin Rivers, I'd say you could start.